small business people don't know what they don't know. That's what gets them in trouble.
Well, I'll tell you what, in the past year, that thing got even muddier because of everybody shipping out to work at home that were employees, and now you're getting into another gray area because they were forced to work at home, so they control their workplace, I guess technically, or not.
Well, no, I think you're right. They control their workplace, but that's only one of three factors.
Hmm.
All right. So the employee is at home, but he's still under the control of the employer because he's got to do this work. He's got to do it in this fashion. I mean, the IRS has been dealing with at home workers for decades, not just the last year. And there's all kinds of court rulings on at home workers being independent contractors if the other factors of control are prevailing in the equation. That's the key. And it's a total. And here's the other thing you got to realize, Tom. And it's a totality of circumstances. It's not just one little fact or one little issue here or there. Well, the worker's at home and he bought his own desk. Okay, fine. Those are just two small factors in an overall pretty invasive is not the right word, but pretty broad equation that has to be evaluated to come up with the answer.
All right, now what happens? How does this apply to, I have outsourced to the Philippines. I treated those as contractors. Does it make a difference if they're a U.S. employee or what?
No, it doesn't matter whether they're U.S. citizens or a U.S. company. But I'll tell you this: if you've got a situation where you're outsourcing, well, let's just use something very, very simple. If I bring and this is going to date me a little bit here now, okay? If I bring 1,000 letters and 1,000 envelopes and 1,000 stamps and 1,000 address labels over to my neighbor and I ask her to stuff the envelopes, put the address label on, and put the stamp on, and then I pick them up and drop them in the mailbox, that does not make her an independent contractor in and of itself. That's a piecework kind of a thing. She's still under my direction. She's still using my tools and equipment, so to speak, with my letters and so on. And so that's still an independent contract situation. On the other hand, if I contract with a mailing company to develop the whole program and help me write the letter and do all the machine work to get it printed and all the various, and we're dealing with a company that here's another factor that makes its services available to the public. That's a key factor, Tom. If that lady is stuffing envelopes and she's only doing it for me versus she's got 25 customers that she's stuffing envelopes for, that is a big factor, making your services available to the public and in fact contracting with other individuals and businesses out there to do the same work. That's a key factor.
Well, that's what saved me in Maryland. And being a pack rat, and I notice you're kind of a book freak like me. I have 3 libraries in my state here, and I saw you on video where you had this gorgeous circular library behind you. I was like, wow, that's beautiful. But that's what saved me is that I had this entertainment company, and this real snooty, I don't want to say what she was, but it's this real snooty lady from the Maryland state comes in and says, these are all employees and we're going to hit you up for, fortune and back payroll tax. I said, oh, is that right? Okay. All right. Have a seat, lady. I pulled out all these Washingtonian magazines. This is when I lived up in DC, where all of these people, these entertainers working for me had ads in the magazine.
Yeah.
And I threw them at her. I said, here, check them all out. Find somebody in there that's not advertising himself to the public. And she was mad and she left, but I could care less. But anyway, yeah, you gotta really watch. That's another reason all the people listening here should get your book and then talk to you if necessary on your situation, because the last thing you want is somebody pouncing on you for back payroll taxes. I got to tell you.
That's for sure. And as long as we're on the subject, let's talk about another very important factor in this whole equation. And that is, do you have a written contract? And is that written contract specific to the individual or the company that you're working with? Or do you have in most cases, these companies have no contract whatsoever. It's a handshake deal. One of the
Mhm.
handshake deals are fine with honest people, but the handshake deal is not going to help you when it comes to a challenge from state or federal government regarding the employment contract, the employment relationship. So you got to have a written contract, in my opinion, Tom. I think it's
Mhm.
essential. And the other point I make is don't go download something off the internet and just fill in the blanks. That's a mistake also.